for merit. Many times, very big minds exist in very small towns. How many of you have heard about a vehicle, any car in India, does it have a black box? Anybody? I'm speaking in a place which is one of the biggest hub of automobile industry. So any car, Mr. Kumar Mangalam, the car he drives, and the car that Mr. Ratan Tata drives, does not have a black box. But what is the advantage if black box was there? The advantage will be that if insurance sector has to decide in the case of untoward incident or an accident, whether or not compensation should be paid, they would like to know whose fault it was, whether the driver was at fault. And the data will be available. You know what assessors do who write the claims? They write stories. They don't even ask you what happened. Isn't it? They write down the stories and the companies pay the claim, which is not the right thing, which is not an ethical thing to do, but that's what is going on in the country. Who do you think designed black box for automobile in this country? The student team. They were the student team. Can you imagine the name of that institution or the team? Anybody? Now that shows how much task, Milind, we have to do to create awareness in Marathwada, but for that matter, rest of the country, about creative mind of our country. 4 girls in Government Women Polytechnic, not a degree college, in Latur, did develop a black box, and let me show you that black box. So you will realize that there is this knowledge available. Can you sit for a minute? Let me just search and let me show you this project. It just takes a second and you will find out the names of the girls, but more importantly, the name of the teacher, Mrs. Umer Garkar. And when you look at Sally, what Sally has done, what Priyanka has done, what Manjushri has done, Mrs. Umer Garkar, who guided this project, should be given even more credit because she has no template to go by. A teacher who guides projects in areas where there is no prior art available easily should be complimented because the teacher is taking risk. If students can't do it, teacher must be able to guide the students. And if neither students nor teacher knows about it, that is a very creative, very adventurous, very experimental way of learning. And I like such teachers because then we both learn together. There is no arrogance, complete humility, and there is a science, collegiality. Now this is what Mrs. Umer Garkar did. But how many students know about it? How many auto industry people know about it? How many of them have contacted her or those teachers that, look, this is a good idea, we want to take it forward? We have not done it. So a summit like this will serve a great purpose. I'm extremely happy to be here because this summit makes it possible for us to bridge these gaps. And I will point out many gaps. First gap was we knew about innovation, didn't know about innovator. Second gap is we don't even know about innovations which are solving problems in the domain in which this region is famous for, let's say, auto sector. 2013 Ignite Award, there was a child who gave an idea that when children or women or old people, they climb the bus, sometimes bus starts and they sometimes fall down because the driver is in too much haste and he just doesn't care whether people on the stairs of the bus have already entered in the bus or not. It happens, isn't it? Have you not seen that? It happens. So they came out with an idea, the child came out with an idea, why don't we have sensors at the gate of the bus so that if anybody is standing, the bus will not start. Good idea? Tamil Nadu, this idea came from. Now question is, what does it tell us? It tells us that my generation knew about the problems, but learned to live with them indefinitely. The generation of young people, the children who are sitting here, I can tell you that you are far less patient with the problem than our generation was, and that is the most redeeming thing I can say about our country. Can you please put the pencil? I will show you examples of many examples where our children have done an admirable job, and they have been able to bring out ideas, examples. Other presentation. How do I use it? This is a, you will give me a remote for that? Just go back, just go back. Yeah, just give me one report. I would like to drive it. Thank you. I can't move the slides? I think I can move. All right. So, next please. No, previous one. One of the things that I need to do today is to open a door, but there are 2 doors that we have to open. I will come to the children slides a few minutes later, once I get the slider. There's a door within our mind, within our heart, which needs to be opened to look within. We do Shodh Yatras every summer, every winter. So recently we finished our 32nd Shodh Yatra in Punjab, and before that, the summer of last year, we went to Wardha for our 31st Shodh Yatra. So summer we go to places which are hot. So in summer we were in Wardha, very, very hot. And in winter we go to the places which are cold. Punjab was very cold, 1 degree centigrade in the night. And we try to learn from 4 teachers. One teacher is within us, that's where we are saying inner gate, inner door. Second teacher is around us. Third teacher is nature. And the fourth teacher is common people of our country. So these are the 4 teachers from whom we learn. Now this gate, unless we open, we won't find the pressure, the motivation, the desire to discover and bridge the gaps that I talked about. Next, please. This is a bridge which is going to be both as a metaphor and in the real fact tell us the way to go forward. You know, if we have to make a bridge on a river, we can pull the ropes from 2 sides, we can make a monkey bridge, we can make a proper concrete bridge, various kinds of bridges we can build. Have you ever seen a bridge made of tree roots from Meghalaya, Magriat village? This is a bridge which the community of that village wanted to make, which is completely sustainable, practically no entropy, very low entropy. So roots of the trees, ficus species, from 2 sides of the river were pulled, joined with the small stones put around, roots wove around the roots, the pebbles, and this bridge came into being. Now with this bridge we need to build, metaphorically speaking, between academia and industry, between college students and young school students, between school children and the entrepreneurs, because their ideas must be converted into reality. So a lot of bridges have to be built. But this bridge could not have been built unless there were 3 things: technology, institutions, and culture. So technology is like word. When we write a sentence, we need words. Institutions are like grammar. We need to have a rule by which the words will be joined. And culture is like thesaurus. We can't use the same word over and over again. We need to have diversity of words. So in any innovation ecosystem, we need to have all the 3 things. We need to have technology, we need to have institutions, and we need to have culture. Culture of creativity, culture of curiosity. Prof. Vice Chancellor was very happy. I was very happy when he mentioned that they have started a center. What is the center going to do? The center is trying to do a kind of build a bridge between different stakeholders in the ecosystem. Next, please. So Honeybee Network started about 25 years ago. This is the Silver Jubilee year. And there was a slide that you saw at the end of the film. What was written there? Anybody remembers what was written on the slide? There was a slide shown at the end of the film just today morning. Nobody remembers? Be innovator. Correct. There are some people who are observing what is going on here. I want to turn the slide. I won't say, let every innovator be a bee. Is it possible? What does bee do? Honeybee does 2 things, 3 things. It cross-pollinates. So ideas in Marathwada don't have to always come from Marathwada. They can come from Vidarbha, they can come from Delhi, they can come from Chennai, they can come from Meghalaya, they can come from anywhere. A good ecosystem is which attracts good ideas, isn't it? So we should be able to create an ecosystem in this region which will attract good ideas. That means people will know that if you want your ideas to be taken forward, there is one place in this country where there is a very hospitable environment. There are no antibodies, there are a lot of support systems around. So cross-pollination of ideas, that's what bees do. When they take the nectar from the flowers don't feel short-changed. They attract the bees by having different colors. So we should not short-change the innovator whose ideas we take. Just today morning, before I wanted to start, I was told about an innovator in Pune, one Mr. Chavan. He has done a great job. I'm sure you are going to meet him today. Briefly speaking, what I understood was that he has designed a water filtering system on an auto rickshaw. And he provides these auto rickshaws to women who can work for 5 hours, take the water from a well, filter it online, deliver it to the people in 50 paisa per liter, not 15 rupees per liter. 50 paisa per liter, high quality water, filtered water. That is an affordable model of innovation. That is accessible model of innovation. That is available model of innovation. We need many more such innovations, and we need to know and support them. Now, this ecosystem, it will find Mr. Chavan, provide him support. He will say, okay, you have 60 autos, start in Aurangabad also many more autos. You start in Pune, you start in Nasik. Now, that kind of support from the entrepreneurs is what ecosystem does. Honeybee Network believes that we should try to reduce the transaction cost of innovation, investment, and enterprise. I will show you that triangle: investment, innovation, and enterprise. This triangle will not get formed unless the transaction cost of each person is reduced. Innovators should know where the enterprise is. Entrepreneurs should know where the funds are. And these three things are often not at one place. I am told, I don't know whether I am revealing any secret, but I am told that Marathwada Chambers of Industry and Agriculture is going to set up, and I am saying that publicly, is going to set up an angel fund, innovation support fund. Are you happy about it? Then give them a big hand. This fund will invest in your ideas. How many of you want to become an entrepreneur? Young people? A lot of fun. So you have a big queue here. You have a big queue here of people who are waiting to be supported. And how many of you are afraid of failing? That your enterprise may fail. How many of you are afraid? Few are afraid, but not many are afraid. Great. Because there's no point, I mean, those who are afraid would not become entrepreneurs, surely not. But there are many who are not afraid, and they can certainly take this idea forward. They can go a long way and support it. So let's go further. Can you give me here? So this is how it started. Nameless, faceless person comes in contact with the network, gets an identity. No innovator of Marathwada region should remain unrecognized. Today we should all take an oath, either as a student, as a faculty member, as an entrepreneur, as an investor, as a public service person. Our job is not to let an innovator remain anonymous, not to let an innovator remain unrecognized, unrespected, unrewarded. And when we do that, the third principle of Honeybee Network is that just like bees don't keep all the honey with themselves, they share with us, we must ensure that their due rights must be respected, their intellectual property rights should be respected, we must share any benefit that may accrue from value addition in that idea back with the innovator, so that there's an ethical ecosystem. That's what our desire should be. Now, please remember, many times we use this term BOP. Many of you must have heard about bottom of the pyramid. Never use that phrase in the way it is used. Because the kind of language we use, it shapes the habit of thought. The moment you say bottom of the pyramid, your mind goes to those values, those attributes of poor people in which they are at the bottom. Surely they are at the bottom of the economic pyramid, but are they at the bottom of the ethical pyramid? Are they at the bottom of innovation pyramid? Are they at the bottom of value pyramid? No. So we must talk about those pyramids in which they are at the top, instead of only talking about the bottom. So please try to use that language, such language which empowers us and makes us conscious of what poor people are capable of. So let us see, how do we learn from educational innovations, how do we learn from cultural creativity, how do we learn from institutional innovations, how do we learn from technological innovation. Now let me begin with culture. This is a Pithora painting from Panch Mahal. Large number of entrepreneurs are sitting here, a lot of colleges are there. How many walls have you seen? How many walls have you seen in your school, college, or industry painted by a folk artist of Marathwada? Anybody? Now you see the point? If only one wall is dedicated for an art display of a traditional folk artist, you will create market for that artist. Artist will become an entrepreneur. Artists might get orders for doing that work in other places. You have opened a new vista for that art form to survive. And in the due course, many young people in that village might want to become a good artist because there will be market for that artist. So we must recognize every form of creativity needs some patronage, needs some support. And there is no doubt that this art and culture need no less support. So how do we create market for those art? This was the lady famous, many of you might have seen this slide earlier, Purulia Bhavi Mahato. Whole wall is embedded art, the embossed art that she has done. And you know why she could do that? Some of you might realize that the one reason why she could do that is she had not heard the name of Maslow. Maslow had talked about hierarchy of needs. How incorrect that framework could be, because poor people, of course, Kabir, Rahim, many other thinkers have had tremendous creativity without having economic resources. So we should never think that those who are knowledge rich, economically poor can't be innovative, can't be creative. They can be. Various examples of art. So this is the triangle I was talking about, and my rest of the presentation will deal with how do we forge this triangle? What do we do so that in Marathwada we create an ecosystem which will make this triangle happen. But before that, we will have to overcome inertia. Is this a problem? Inertia is a problem? Look at this cobbler. There are 4 cobblers here. You have cobbler from India, Afghanistan, Mongolia, China. What's the difference? When you go to a shoe mender and go in China, there's a place, first of all, there's a chair, you can sit on it. In our country, when you go to a cobbler, you have to take those old chappals he will give you when he repairs your shoes. You have to stand, isn't it? Because he himself is sitting on the ground. Right outside the planning commission, there's a cobbler sitting. And this tool, you see this tool? This tool was designed when our shoes were of leather and we had nails and they had to be hammered. Do we have such shoes now? We don't. The shoes that we have now need adhesive or stitching. They need a stitching machine, they need adhesives, clamp. But the tools of this cobbler have not changed. He's a service provider. The quality of service he can provide is as good as the tool that he has. Who will design these tools? Who will design this tool for him? Somebody has to work on this. So in Mongolia, you have a machine here. In China, you have a machine here. But in our country, there's a inertia, indifference, insolence, laziness, intellectual laziness, operational laziness, because of which the device has not been modified. So you please appreciate, here you have a problem here and innovation here. Where do I get problems from? Their problems are all around us. Every time I learn to live with a problem unsolved, I have institutionalized inertia in my mind. And I have no right to expect a vibrant ecosystem in our country for innovative solutions. So we must develop impatience. We must find ways of overcoming this inertia. And let me show you some more examples of inertia. Have you seen this picture? Anybody has seen this picture before? It is, you know which site it is from? Anybody can guess? Which website it is from? Huh? This is from tourism site. Incredible India site. India is indeed incredible. Only India can invite tourists to see the shame of a country. This is not something to be proud of, isn't it? If a lady is walking with the water on her head, miles and miles, this is not something that we want to show to the tourists and say, look, in our country we don't care about the women who have to bear this burden for such a long time, despite the fact we had recently launched a vehicle with cryogenic engine. India has the most cost-effective, frugal Chandrayaan mission. In $76 million, we did what no country else other than India could do that in less than $1 billion. We could launch 10 satellites in a single vehicle, 5 of them foreign made. Nobody could do that. Now, given the fact that we have such a huge strength, there is no justification for this. But sometimes there are thoughtful people. There was a king in 1890s in Gondal, Bhagwan Singh Ji. He saw some women carrying load on their head, and he asked his minister, what do they do when they get tired? Minister said, such they keep walking. Because if a woman is alone with a load on her head, and if she keeps the load on the ground, she can't lift it. Physiologically, it becomes difficult. There's a problem. So she can't lift it till somebody else is there to assist, and many times you don't have anybody to assist. So you keep walking. He got Visamo, that means these platforms that you see here of shoulder height, built every mile, so you can bend down, put the load there, take a rest, gather your breath, and then when you're ready, you've recovered your breath, put the load back on the head and walk. 100 years ago, there was a ruler in this country who thought about this problem. But of late, our sensitivity has gone down. We don't realize this problem, so we don't do anything about it, and therefore we live with inertia. This is a stove millions of women use today. How much is thermal combustion efficiency? 14 to 16%. You have all taken tea in the morning today. How many of you realized that when you took the tea, somebody had plucked the tea leaves, isn't it? And the tea leaves are plucked from a bush and put in the basket like this, isn't it? If you do that 5 or 7 times, you will realize how much pain you have in the shoulder and the elbow. The lady does it about 2,500 times, 3,000 times. Wouldn't she be feeling pain? She will be feeling pain. But does that pain get transferred to us when we take a cup of tea? No. There's a beautiful word in Marathi, in Sanskrit, Gujarati, called as samvedana. Sam means equal, Vedana means pain. When somebody else's pain is internalized by us as intensely as that person feels it, it does not remain that person's pain. This pain of transplanting paddy manually in a back-bending posture should be felt by us when we take rice, but it is not felt. But if we are having some Vedana in our life, Sam means equal, as I said, Vedana means pain, I will internalize the pain of this. Then it is not that lady's problem, it is my problem. And some of you will solve this problem, will develop transplanters as a part of your final year project or as a part of a third year project. This can happen, this will happen, this has to happen, because we can't afford to have millions of women having this problem every day in their life. So there is, this inertia has to be overcome, and there are 4 kinds of capital. I will only refer to one: natural capital, social capital, ethical capital, and intellectual capital. There's only one capital I want to refer to, which is ethical capital.